What's going on, guys? Matt Kelly here, and welcome to another installment of the Matt Kelly Fishing YouTube channel. Now, this one here is a bit of a throwback. We're going back 5 years. This is the first ever boat restoration I did. And as you'll see, I made some mistakes along the way, and I've definitely learned a lot in the last few years. This is what I would call a cosmetic restoration. So no structural work happened to this boat. Fiberglass boat, very old hull, structurally sound. So what we did was floor, a nice casting platform, full paint, full internal fit out, electronics, the whole deal. Basically turned a really old boat that was going to be scrapped ultimately into something that was cool and gave it a few more years of life. Plenty of changes that I would make going back now, but you'll see all that in the video. So settle in, enjoy it. Updated all the music with some sick lo-fi beats to just cruise through. It's a long one, but if you're into the boat resto space, I think you'll enjoy it. Roll the intro, let's get into it. Hey guys, what is going on? Pretty interesting day today. Yesterday morning I was on Facebook and I saw in one of the Facebook groups that I'm part of that someone was selling a boat, and I was like, that boat is interesting, I could work on that boat. So about 10 emails later, just got home from going and checking it out, and I am now the proud owner of this small little fiberglass, well, they call it a speedboat. I don't know if it's actually a speedboat, but it's like a fiberglass dinghy. It's going to require quite a lot of work to get it to a point where I'm really happy with it. It's going to be like fully sandblasted, remove all the old gel coat, all the old paint, total repaint, fix up a few things, fiberglass up a few things, remove the seats, full false floor, a couple of pedestal seats in there. Feels structurally pretty good, so I'm happy. This is what happens when you have to remove hundreds of rivets at once. Not cool. That's actually like a weapon. Probably remove the paint with that actually. That is bad form. As I'm pulling, come down. As I'm pulling, you can see it's pulling off these chunks of fiberglass. It's pulling out these big chunks here and leaving them inside the rubber where it's been. There it is there. I can get that out. So that would have been attached there. This has been slid along it the whole way around the boat. I reckon this is original, so it's probably 25, maybe 30 years old, maybe more. Right, so we've begun the arduous task of removing all the old glue that was attaching the old rubber to both pieces of the hull. maybe move around this side so you don't die. Yeah, I think it's going to be pretty good. Look at that. Quick status update. We're about an hour later. Got almost all of the glue off here. It's actually very smooth in some of the areas, which is nice. Where it's not, it's mostly fiberglass, so you can sort of see where it's been a hard job. So mostly smooth this full half, which is nice. And then on this side, yeah, there's still plenty more to go. Probably another hour to get that totally cleaned up, which will be good when that's done. Took a break while the batteries on the drill are charging, and thought I would remove this ply plate, see if there's anything scary under that. Well, it's had a few different engines on it. There's quite a few holes there. It actually looks quite solid. I have to go get a hammer and a few little knocks and see what's going on, but it doesn't feel bad at all, surprisingly. They've filled these other holes, so that's positive. Yeah, keep playing, time will tell. Alright, well, the old seats have been removed, the bulk of the seats have been removed. I've got to now, try and work out how to get off these edges. Well, that has been a very, very challenging session. Removing seats was more difficult than we thought it would be. So cut the seats out and then had to use a multi-tool to cut them off at the base, and then a lot of sanding. We need to get some more coarse sandpaper for the sander, but this is what it's starting to look like. So it is coming off quite well. That one there, that one there's literally just been cut. There's no sanding done to that one. But it's working pretty well. That one there's looking pretty good as well. So when they're filled and sanded back, I think it'll come together quite nicely. So yeah, now to fill some of these little holes. Then sand back some of these holes. You can see I've done a couple of them already. That is very smooth, which is nice. Same on this side. If you weren't looking at it, you wouldn't even notice that there was a hole there. So still got to tidy up these ones up here. Tidy up those two. Fill this one. But it's coming together. So what I'm doing here is, because these holes were way too big for me to fill just by jamming putty in them, I've literally got a small little piece of little piece of off-cut. I've coated it so that it's waterproof and watertight. I've put a bit of glue on the end of it and a bit of masking tape around that, and I've literally just slotted it inside the hole, and now I'm pulling it up while the glue sets. Now what that means is, the glue's starting to set now, I can now let go of that bit of masking tape, and what that's essentially going to mean is, yeah, I'm just pulling that feels very solid. So I can now cut that masking tape off and fill directly over the hole. And I've now got something there to brace the inside of the hole that looks like that, which means you're not burning too much filler, and you can have a nice solid piece on the inside to hold it together. And that, I don't know if you can see it, there was a big crack there. It's very nicely filled. So once that's got primer over it and we've sanded that back, you won't even know that was there. Very good. Let's try and do this corner piece. That edge there is not too bad. Might need a little bit of tidying up, but it looks pretty good. Thought I would share another tip that most people forget when they do things like work on a little project is, you know, as I remove things like this screw, I want to remember when I'm putting it all back together where different screws came from, what different parts were used for, and when there's quite a few parts you start to forget. So I've got this little process that I like. I just get these little Ziploc bags, write on the front of them what's in them, and it keeps it really easy down the track when you need to know, you know, oh man, what kind of self-tapping screw was I using to attach the sounder, and I can literally grab that and I can get new ones, or I can use the ones that I had if they're still good. But it's a process that I use, and I do it with everything. I just try to label everything, keep it organized, because when it comes to putting it all back together, I think it makes life a lot easier. It's looking like a very different boat now from when we started, and it's only going to look more different in the next few days. Alright, so I wanted to jump in here. Now we're moving into the fit out start of this process. And a few disclaimers. I've actually restored a bunch of boats since this video. You'll see them all on my channel. Boats where we've done complete legitimate structural restorations, like full transom, full stringers, full floor, full fiberglassing, literally taking a boat from an outer shell and building it out. That's not what we did in this case. In this case, because the boat was structurally sound, what we did was we went, let's just build the shell. Now, there's a few things I would do differently today. In fact, there's probably a lot of things I'd do differently today, but the biggest one is I think we did a pretty good job of sealing the timber, but if had my time again, would have used different wood. Would have used either hardwoods and, like, we use marine ply, but properly sealed ply, or probably what would be better if I was doing it again is using a Kusa or a King Star board, something more of a composite material, just so you're not going to get the likelihood of rot in the future. Because I think while the materials that I use are fit for purpose for a period of time, it's probably not what you want to be using if you're doing a boat that you want to last for 10 plus years. In fact, if it gets properly wet, the materials we use would almost certainly rot. So big disclaimer before we get into it, I'm pretty proud of how it comes out, but many of you I know are going to say wrong material, and I definitely know that now. As you'll see in my other videos, we've definitely catered to that. So just wanted to jump in with that. Almost certainly wood is still fine as long as you're sealing it properly, but use the right materials. All right, so we're now moving into paint. Now in this case, I'm using it's a marine paint, but it's actually a water-based 2-pack. I'd never really used it before, but I had heard of it. It's called Boat Coat. I bought it from a place called Boatcraft Pacific. Actually a really good product, went on really nicely. As you'll see in the video, I use a roll and tip methodology of getting on the boat. Didn't have the room for spraying and frankly didn't have the material, the equipment or the skills to spray. So learnt the roll and tip method, which worked very, very well. However, as many of you will see, the undercoat goes on very transparent. So while I do quite a thick layer, you can really see through it until you get quite a few coats on there. So something to look out for. End to another weekend. I'm not super stoked with the primer. It wasn't as thick, as high fill as I had hoped. So after we call it 2 coats, it was really what I feel like was 1.5. You can still see a lot of colour through it. We're going to be 1 or 2 more coats of primer before we're done, and then we go into paint. Finished wet and dry sandpapering. I'm pretty happy with it. There's a few ridges in there from where the undercoat was a bit thick, but it's at the point now where it's like it may not be the perfect finish, but it's going to be as good as I'm happy with. So you can see here there's quite a lot of markings where we've brought it right back to that high fill primer, and then even some areas where we got through that, but I feel okay with it. I've just done a bit of a clean up. So now it's time to mask off and get some more painting happening. It's all coming together pretty quickly now, which is awesome. I've just mixed up a little bit more paint, as you can see down here. The goal with that is to just go through and touch up the insides where I couldn't get to with the roller when we did the first coat. It's all going to be under the floor, so it doesn't have to be a particularly good job, but I feel like I should might as well at least cover it, keep it neat, keep it clean, so that when I do eventually pull up the floors, it's still in pretty good shape. It's also another layer of just something to seal it all, so that's the goal. I'm going to get paint into all of these little gaps, areas where it's hard to get to with the roller underneath, and we'll keep going from there. We're ready for coat number 3. I thought I'd show you guys how I actually have to mix the paint, because there's a hardener, like a catalyst. You've got to add drops to the paint, mix that up, and that gets rolled on. So I'll show you that now. While letting the last coat just to sit there and cure and dry, I actually went up and picked up the rubber to go around the inside of this rail, and I just tried it and I'm really happy with it. It sits on there super nicely, so that's going to run around the full inside and help seal the outside layer with the inside layer. And yeah, it's a super nice finish. I could not be happier with that. It's going to be really, really good. So that's going to go around the edges. Going to do a quick light sand over this, do another coat or two today, and then hopefully get to do a coat on the inside, which I'd be really happy about if I was able to do that. So busy day. Let's keep going. Done for the day, made a lot of progress, did several coats on the top deck, did a couple of coats on the inside, the white and the grey on the floor. I'm really happy with it. I think this top deck is almost ready for cleaning up, and then gloss, which is awesome. The inside's pretty close to being done. Obviously then floor, carpet and all that stuff, but we're almost ready to get onto the hull under here, which has been basically untouched since we got it, apart from being cleaned. So see, there's a lot of sort of old name and old rego stickers and whatnot, so they're still going to come. It's a bit heavier than we expected. But we've got it upside down. Now we're just going to get it back inside. Friday night, and knowing that I would be out here all weekend trying to get the bottom of the hull finalised, I decided to come out, sand back that epoxy stuff, the kneader that we put on there last week. It's already set over the little dings, and then want to sand that back and get some epoxy on, particularly along the keel here. So you can see here a lot of this is like sort of now sanded back and looks quite good. All the little dings and scratches have now been filled. Not all of them, but the bulk of them for sure. So there was a little scratch there, and a whole lot of them around the edges. I've sort of filled a little divot there. So now we're going to run some epoxy, particularly along here where you can see it's worn through, and then top coat will hopefully, if it sets, go on tomorrow, which would be great. It's like the world's thinnest, like, undercoat ever.
Why isn't it thick?
I don't know. It's a water-based 2-pack. It's supposed to be like 2-pack. Yeah, 2-pack. It's supposed to be for designed for boats. It's actually called boat coat. A lot of people talk about using it, but I don't get why it's so thin. Like, it just doesn't thicken up at all. On the plus side, it's still being sticky, by the way. It actually helps. I feel like it helps you get a thicker coat on there.
Yeah, that's probably true.
Like gripping. So we did top coat. We did the first layer of base coat this morning. I spent basically all day waiting for it to dry. It's still a little bit sticky, but I want to get another coat on so we can make progress tomorrow. So that's the objective of this process. All right, second coat down of base. What do you reckon?
Looks good.
Yeah, I'm actually really happy with it. I think a light sand and that should come up pretty nicely. It's rolled on there well. It's actually surprisingly well, really. Very little marks, but all in all, I think it'll be fine. Little tiny ripples. So it's the following morning. I let the 2 coats of undercoat harden overnight. Super hard now, which is great. But now it is time to sand. That's half the boat sanded, still got to do the transom and the entire other side. I reckon we've been about, let me check the time here, been a good couple of hours, probably over 2.5 hours, so it takes a long time, but I think it'll get us a better result, so that's definitely worthwhile. Just finished sanding, which is awesome. So now we're ready for top coat. It's going to give it a clean up and wait for sailing yacht to get here, and then it's game on. Just finished the tip and roll process or the roll and tip process, I should say, for the 2 coats. It's looking really good at this stage. Got to do a bit of sanding and get another coat or 2 on there, but I'm happy with how it's coming together. It looks really good. clear coat later, and this is what it's looking like. Looks really good. Shiny, gloss, nice thick coat. Time to get it flipped over. Just finished 2 coats of clear coat on that top deck, and it's come together pretty well actually. Glossy, it's starting to dry nice and smooth, so we're getting to the tail end of the project. It's getting close. We are currently installing the LED strip lighting, which is going well, isn't it?
Right.
and all those wires will be hidden away very shortly. Rain. So annoying. And there you have it. If you got this far, congratulations, because this has been a very long video, but you've seen the full project, the complete restoration of this epic little fiberglass runabout. Really fun boat. With the 25, it just was packed with power. Rode much smoother than a tinny would in the water. I'm super happy with how it came out. Really, really nice boat. Obviously, there's a lot I would do differently if I had my time over. I definitely would have used probably some different materials and really sealed it down even better than we did. We did definitely seal the timber, but I would have probably even glassed some of it. Tried to get the weight down a bit. It was a heavy boat. That's something that I would definitely keep in mind going back and having my time again, was The timber makes it heavy. We could definitely have gone lighter with that, and I think it would have come out potentially better. It rode nicely, so I think the weight definitely helped with that. But at the end of the day, the boat worked. You know, I'm not sure the wood's going to last 50 years. I think you're easily going to get 10 years out of it, and for a boat that's already 30 to 40 years old, that makes sense to me. Yes, it might be 50 kilos heavy that needs to be, but that's, I don't know, the cost of learning, the cost of going through the process. So as I mentioned at the start of the video, if you want to see a full structural rebuild of a boat, of a similar boat to this, I've actually just done a complete rebuild in the last couple of years. That boat was one where we did stringers, transom, floor, complete glassing, the entire project. So if you want to see that and you want to do a project yourself, that's probably a better example of the steps to go through and the equipment to use. I've learned a lot in the last few years. So while this was a really, really good experience and a really cool boat, would definitely do it differently if I had my time again. But like I say, boats are made to be played with, to modified, to be used. If you're not having fun with it, then what's the point? And that's what this one was. It was a lot of fun and a lot of learning, which was really cool. If you like this video, please do leave a comment below. Let us know what you think. Smash the like button, hit subscribe, do all that cool stuff. I really appreciate it, and thank you so much for watching. Cheers, guys, and I'll see you later.